Hello. You may remember a few weeks ago I told a story from an experience I had navigating at night during my mountain leadership assessment. I'd been hiking at night with only the beam of my head torch to light the way, and I had very limited vision. I could only really see what I was directly looking at, what lay in my line of sight, and anything outside my sphere of vision or off the path remained invisible. Well, as I thought about this later, it made me think about some of the things that we don't see when we just have a little light or when we're focused on following one narrow way. This became even more obvious to me when one of the donors to the Place of Springs shared with us a little bit of her process with God. This was something we were completely unaware of. It was outside our sphere of vision, if you like, but it led to her sense of confirmation that she wanted to make a significant donation to the Place of Springs. And at the time, Miranda and I had this sense that we were walking in a narrow beam of light that God had given us, that we were completely unaware of the ways God was at work outside our field of vision until those things came directly into our pathway. Interestingly, 2 weeks ago, I was walking with a few friends in the hills not far from our house. It was a section of hillside that had been burnt really badly in the recent wildfires. It was a rainy morning, there was clouds on the hillside. It was beautiful contrast of colours of the burnt hillside and the clouds. And I was walking alongside a friend called Alex. And as we were walking up through some burnt pine woods, I was telling him about my experience of navigating at night. I was just telling him about how we can't always see what's happening outside our sphere of vision until God brings it into the pathway directly in front of us. And as I was relaying this story to Alex, he suddenly stopped in his tracks, and there on the path, right in front of us, was a strikingly beautiful black with yellow spots salamander. A fire salamander. This is a creature I've never seen before, and I've been walking in these hills for 9 years. The other guys caught up with us, and together we were exclaiming at this beautiful little animal, taking photos of him in various poses, as you do. And then after a while we carried on walking, and I took up my story with Alex again. And then, would you believe it, within about 100 metres up the track, there was a second fire salamander, again, just sitting right in the middle of the path. We stopped, we took some more photos, and then we carried on walking. And amazingly, within another 2 minutes, there was a third. And then, over the space of about half an hour, walking just 1 kilometre up this track, we met 17 fire salamanders. This was quite amazing, and I was really struck by this. My attention had been caught. And as I spent time over the coming days, I was meditating on this. I was thinking just the contrast of this burnt hillside with seemingly no sign of life, and then these 17 very, very striking, clearly defined, absolutely beautiful fire salamanders on the path. I was thinking, Lord, what are you saying to me? What's the significance of this? What am I missing? What is outside my sphere of vision until you bring it right into my path? Well, interestingly, last week, Miranda and I unexpectedly received a new offer from the woman who is selling the property that we're trying to buy for the Place of Springs. We were talking, and I was telling her that we've now raised 2/3 of the total asking price. And she suggested that we pay that money that we now have. We buy the property, we take possession of it now, and we owe her the remaining £100,000 with a contract to repay it within a 2-year period. We took this offer to our advisory group last week. We talked about it, we prayed, and together we felt very encouraged by this. We felt that this was good forward movement after feeling quite stalled over the last few months. And we felt that, this could well be a very good way forward. Over the weekend, as we carried on processing as a couple, I think we recognised a certain hesitation on our parts. We had hoped to take full possession of the property with all of the payments cleared so that we could immediately focus on the hard work of getting up and running a ministry. And I think, honestly, committing to raising this unpaid portion over the next 2 years at the same time as running a ministry feels rather daunting and also sounds exhausting. So over the weekend, we've taken it back in prayer to God, and we felt God reminding us of the experience with the salamanders. This unexpected movement towards us by the vendor feels to us a little bit like that first salamander, which was such a sort of a striking, unexpected thing in our pathway. This option that she has suggested, we raised 6 months ago with her, and at that point she was closed to it completely. But somehow over these last 6 months, outside of our field of vision, God has obviously been at work in her heart, and she's now come back to us with this suggestion. And just like that unexpected fire salamander, this has caught our attention. Our sense is that we're to ask God for a cluster of other signs of the way that he is working to bring about the purchase of the Place of Springs for ongoing ministry. So this is a prayer of faith. We're asking that all the ways God has been working outside our sphere of vision, in other people's hearts, stirring in them a desire to participate in this vision, releasing finances, all those things that we can't see, that they would somehow step into the path in front of us, as it were, and make themselves known now. We're praying that just like those fire salamanders, which seem to be such clear pictures of God's beautiful work at play, that somehow things like that would become known in quick succession, in a cluster of beautiful provision, and that we could pay this entire purchase price shortly after moving in. Now, it could be that God is stirring your heart to give. It could be that God will touch individuals, maybe a dozen individuals or groups to join together to give, maybe churches or multiple generations within families, maybe people who've been waiting to see if this thing will really come about. I don't know. I mean, it does feel now, probably more than ever, that this is happening. We've been trusting and communicating for the last 15 months, and it has felt like God is at work. At first, we'd hoped to raise a mortgage, as you know, and this was denied. And then we felt encouraged to continue to trust God to provide despite that. And now it feels like we're on the cusp of this. It really could happen soon. If we sign this agreement, we could be in the property within a few months. So we're praying for a cluster of provision now that would enable us to do this quickly. For example, 16 donations of £5,000 would bring us really close to the total. Maybe all this talk of fire salamanders is a bit much for you. I guess, to be honest, it's just an analogy that's helped us to direct our prayers, and perhaps it can do that for you too. Now that we are so close to the fulfilment of this vision, would you please join us in praying for the release of multiple donations, a cluster of them in quick succession? And if you're part of a church group or an extended family who've known us for a while, or perhaps a missional community, maybe you could consider what it might look like for you to join together to make one of these salamanders appear on the path ahead. We don't know how God is at work behind the scenes and on the side to bring about his purposes for ministry here. But we're so grateful for all of you. We're so grateful for the people who are walking with us in this journey. We're thankful for the story that is unfolding, and we're really grateful for you for your prayers and for whatever way you can join us in this part of the journey now.